This next whisky is something which is a new one for me. This is an Australian whisky from Starward Distillery. This is called Two Fold. Charlie, I believe you've had the pleasure of visiting the distillery.
I have indeed.
What can you tell us about this?
It's in Melbourne. Distilling in Australia is taking off big time. Obviously, it started in Tasmania, and there are numerous, but they all tend to be quite small, and they tend to fill the spirit into small casks, which have either contained, they've got a different name for it, but Australian sherry or Australian port. Very active casks, a climate that leads to very rapid maturation. Well, the climate prohibits long-term maturation, and of course the capacity of those small casks also militates towards sort of limited bottlings. Now, Starward is the exception, and the only exception so far as I'm aware. They proved themselves and then got a big grant from, I think it's called Distill Ventures, it's a Diageo thing, to allow them to A, expand the capacity production, but B, to fill into larger casks so that they can build up stock. You can't build a brand unless you've got stock to support it. You know? So you've got things like Sullivan's Cove, and I mean, you probably get these announcements, Sullivan's Cove. The next day it's gone. It's almost like single cask bottlings, you know. So you can't really build. Well, you can build a brand, but you haven't got the stock to support it. So Starward is an exception. It's a beautifully made whiskey. Dave Broom and I were both there at the same time, and David Vitale is the master distiller. As you said, I think they call it two-fold double grain, and here on the end it says wheat and malted barley. Now that's very unusual. There's no, obviously, sort of Scotch malt is malt only, and the Scotch blend, and it's presumably the wheat, the mash bill, a mix of
It's
wheat.
almost more similar to an American bourbon.
Yeah, absolutely. Truly Melbourne born and bred, it says, and it's a 40% alcohol.
Yeah, this should be an interesting one. So this one has been fully matured, as far as I'm aware, in
they just
red
say
wine casks?
red wine casks. Yep. Now, whether that's port or whatever, I don't know, but we'll just see what the final product is like. I was very impressed, certainly, when I was there a couple of years ago with Dave.
Yeah, so you say they've got long-term ambitions for the future, laying down stock for
I think so.
that facility, you know, because if you're using smaller casks in that hot a climate, it's very easy to over-mature. Even 4, 5, 6 years, it can become.
I mean, they're getting a fully mature product in a very short period of time. But you know, age breeds complexity. You know, but as you say, in that climate and in small casks, it's going to be dominated.
Time, I think. I know there's been experiments done about how can create a whiskey in a week that tastes like it's 20 years old, and it's just not quite there. There's no substitute for it. So, and
that's why Scotland, you see, is ideal because of the damp, cool temperature, generally speaking, and the traditional warehouses in particular, but it enables long maturation in refilled casks. So the whiskey is not dominated by flavours coming from the wood. So anyway,
Scotland's dampness is a blessing.
It is. Gorgeous colour, and maybe it's my imagination, but there's a slightly pink tinge in the bottle.
Absolutely, which makes sense with the red wine cask influence. On the nose, is it winey on the nose? Is it prominent? What do you think?
Having been told that this wine maturation, I would say yes, but it's certainly very, very subtle.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's not giving a huge amount away.
No, I think it needs to rest a little bit and warm up a little bit.
Yeah, it does feel a bit shy.
It is, yeah, it is. It's closed, but it's immediately quite complex. It's mellow, 40% alcohol, but I'm looking forward to tasting it, but I'm not getting much on the nose at the moment.
Very restrained on the nose. Shall we move on to tasting and see if it opens up a little bit more? Give it a little sip.
Sweet, not cloying, perfectly mature.
It's very
Difficult to describe. It's
yeah, very drinkable, I think.
very, very drinkable. I would say it's sort of medium-bodied.
Yeah, I think for me it's a similar sort of tasting experience to some of the nicer bourbons that I've had, and that it's nice and there's a nice amount of flavour to it, but that sort of depth and complexity you often get with, you know, a 12, 15-year-old single malt Scotch is not quite there. It's lovely. You know, I've not had a huge amount of Australian whiskies, but it's definitely something I'd go back to. There's nothing there that offends me. I'm not picking up any off notes.
None whatsoever. It's a very nice drink, actually. Yeah, it is difficult to describe, but it's just so pleasant to drink. You know.
Yeah, for me, it's the nice one that would almost be quite good with ice with it, because I feel like you're not going to lose, you're not going to destroy it, you're not going to kill it by, you know, adding ice to it, and there's enough flavour there that will carry through. So it strikes me as a nice kind of summertime dram. Not that we have many of those in Scotland.
What time would you drink it? It's a sort of all day drink, really, isn't it? But there again, to call it a session whiskey would be rude, because it does reward attention, but it's, my goodness, it slips down easily. Now it's becoming a little bit more fruity.
Is it worth adding a touch of water? Do you think that might?
I'm going to try that. Yep. See.
Just see if it, often even just a few drops can bring out more subtle complexities to it.
Never be shy about adding water.
Yeah, for me, the wininess is almost more pronounced with a touch of water.
What do they call it? It's a vanilla sponge with jam and cream.
Okay.
Victoria sponge.
Yes.
Victoria sponge. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, not a whiskey that is going to change your life. Not a whiskey that you'll tell all your friends about, but it doesn't do anything wrong.
But this would be a perfect
Yeah.
tea time whiskey.
In
place of tea.
Yeah. For my mum's birthday, I'll take her out for some Starward in the afternoon. See what she thinks. Yeah, no, it's a lovely drop.
Well, what are the I don't know what the bottoms up or something. I don't know what the Australians say. But
Cheers.